Still on in a new development, following Trump's Gulf visit, Israel's right-wing government has chosen to remain diplomatically silent this week, even as United States President Donald Trump unleashed a wave of announcements that unsettled long-standing Israeli expectations regarding its positions with the United States, its closest ally. Trump's latest Middle East visit has pointedly excluded Israel, reinforcing perceptions that his administration is increasingly prioritizing business engagement with affluent Gulf states like Qatar, a country Israeli officials have repeatedly accused of supporting Hamas. Even before the trip commenced, Israel had grown anxious over renewed United States nuclear discussions with arch rival Iran and Trump's abrupt move to halt airstrikes against the Houthis in Yemen, a militia backed by Iran that continues to target Israel with missiles. In a further blow, Israeli officials could only observe as Washington brokered a deal with Hamas to secure the release of Idan Alexander, the last known American hostage in Gaza. Now, adding to Israeli dismay, Trump has since lifted sanctions on Syria and pushed for normalization of ties to Damascus, a regime Israel still views as dominated by jihadist influence. Take a look.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness. Likewise, in Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this.
President Trump's statement right there sparked a wide celebration in the room, as you've just seen on your screen. Well, as Trump spoke from Riyadh on Tuesday taunting the ceasefire, he helped broker with the Houthis. A raid Syrians bled across Jerusalem and Tel Aviv in response to a missile launch from Yemen. Despite these developments, Trump has dismissed claims of a rift with Israel. Speaking to reporters in the Gulf, he emphasized that his broader regional engagement would ultimately benefit the Jewish state. Let's hear what he has to say.
לא יהיה מצב שאנחנו נפסיק את המלחמה, אני לא אומר, אתה יכול לעשות הפסקת אש בזמן ידוע, אבל אתה לא יכול, אנחנו הולכים עד הסוף. לא רוצה להגיד דברים, אנחנו בימים קרובים מאוד נכנסים בכל העוצמה להשלים את המהלך. להשלים את המהלך זה להכניע את החמאס. זה להשמיד את החמאס. אנחנו הקמנו מנהלת שתאפשר להם לצאת, אבל הבעיה אצלנו זה דבר אחד, אין לך.
Wow. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu publicly thanked President Trump for Alexander's release. He has made no additional statement, a silence that reflects growing public concern that Israel is being sidelined. Indeed, commentators like Yaov Limer of the right-leaning Israel Hayom have pointed out that the region is being reshaped through diplomatic deals and meetings with Israel, at best relegated to the sidelines. However, Netanyahu, who is currently standing trial on corruption charges he denies, has previously made no secret of his strong preference for Trump over former President Joe Biden, who had imposed restrictions on arms transfers and sanctioned violent Israeli settlers. Domestically, Netanyahu is caught between hardline religious nationalist elements in his coalition who demand that the war in Gaza continues until Hamas is completely defeated and an increasingly weary public. So far, he continues to align with the hardliners. Nonetheless, the past 2 weeks appear to underscore a clear divergence of priorities, as Jonathan Panika, former U.S. Deputy National Intelligence Officer for the Middle East, notes. The special diplomatic treatment Israel has long received from Washington may no longer be guaranteed. Now, Trump is clearly committed to a transactional, business-driven foreign policy, said Panikov, now with the Atlantic Council. If traditional political or security alignments with Israel don't serve that agenda, he'll move forward anyway. While U.S. officials continue to emphasize the strength of bilateral ties, they have expressed private frustrations. Trump is eager to fulfill campaign promises to end the conflict in both Gaza and Ukraine and wants Netanyahu to work toward a ceasefire with Hamas. The administration has also shown reluctance to support any Israeli military action against Iran. Also, National Security Council spokesperson James Hewitt stated that Washington remains committed to securing the release of the remaining 58 hostages in Gaza and to enhance regional stability. As he has stated, Israel has no better friend in history than President Trump, a fact that is. Nevertheless, Israeli, once ecstatic about Trump's now abandoned proposal to redevelop Gaza as a beachfront resort free of Palestinians, have remained unusually quiet. Israeli officials too have avoided direct criticism. Now, the United States is a sovereign country, a foreign ministry spokesperson said in response to questions about Israel's exclusion from key developments. Israel's intimate dialogue with Washington, they added, would be conducted directly and not through the media. Now, despite these assurances, the disconnect is becoming more visible. Though an Israeli delegation has joined Trump's envoy in Doha for ceasefire talks, Israeli forces have simultaneously escalated airstrikes in Gaza, killing dozens on Wednesday. Prime Minister Netanyahu has also signaled that Israel is not backing down. Reaffirming his stance, he stated on Wednesday, Israel will not stop and will not surrender. Let's take a look.